Hey, want to make your French sound more polished, more professional? Well, the secret might just be in something you use all the time without even thinking about it: the voice of your sentences. Today, we're diving into the difference between the active and passive voice. It's a small shift, but it can totally change the impact of your message. Let's get right into it.
And just so you know, we're working with some really top-tier material here. Everything you're going to see today comes straight from the curriculum of A French Rendez-Vous, which is Canada's leading language school. That watermark you see, that's our seal of quality, so you know you're getting some expert-level instruction.
So, let's kick things off with a simple question. What's the real difference between the manager signed the contract and the contract was signed by the manager? I mean, they're describing the exact same event, right? But the feeling, the focus is completely different, and understanding that little shift is the whole key to mastering this. And that brings us right here. The best way to think about active and passive voices isn't as two separate things, but more like two different camera angles on the exact same story. One puts a spotlight on the person doing the action, and the other, well, it shines that light on the result of the action instead.
Okay, here's the main difference, laid out nice and simple. The active voice, over on the left, is all about the subject, the doer. It's direct, it's to the point, and it tells you exactly who is doing the thing. The passive voice, on the other hand, shifts that focus over to the object, the receiver of that action. The emphasis moves to what happened, not necessarily who was behind it.
Let's make this real. In the active voice, you get le gestionnaire signe le contrat. The manager signs the contract. Our focus here is laser sharp, right on le gestionnaire, the manager. He's the hero of this sentence. He's the one making things happen.
Now, watch what happens when we flip it to the passive voice. Le contrat est signé par le gestionnaire. The contract is signed by the manager. You see that shift? Suddenly, le contrat, the contract, is front and center. It's the new subject. The manager, he's been moved to the end of the sentence, almost like an extra piece of information. The result, the signed contract, is now the star of the show.
Okay, so we can see the difference in focus, but how do we actually build the passive voice? Let's get into the mechanics. And don't worry, it's actually a super simple, repeatable formula you can use every single time.
Here is your three-step recipe. Step 1. The direct object from the first sentence becomes the new subject. Easy enough? Step 2, and this is the important one. You take the verb être, to be, and you conjugate it in the exact same tense as the original verb was. Finally, you just add the past participle, and you make sure it agrees with your new subject. The absolute key here is that être is what carries the tense. That's the secret sauce.
And the really cool thing is, this formula is super flexible. It's not just for the present tense. This structure works across all the major tenses in French. Actually, this next slide is the perfect cheat sheet to see it all in action. So, just look at this breakdown. In the present, publie becomes est publié. Simple. For passé composé, a transmis becomes a été transmis. You see how être just takes on that passé composé form? So cool! In the imparfait, examiner turns into été examiné, and in the future, publia transforms into seront publiés. It's the same predictable pattern every single time. All right, theory is great and all, but the real learning happens when you actually put it into practice. So, you know what time it is? It's time for a little challenge. Let's see if you can apply everything we've just gone over. Okay, here are 3 active sentences up on the screen. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to transform them into the passive voice. Number 1, le comité approuve la décision. Number 2, le ministère a diffusé la directive. And number 3, les inspecteurs vérifieront les comptes. All right, this is your chance. Go ahead and pause here, give it a shot, and we'll check the answers together when you get back. Okay, you ready to see how you did? Let's check those answers. For the first one, le comité approuve la décision, that becomes la décision est approuvée par le comité. Next up, le ministère a diffusé la directive becomes la directive a été diffusée par le ministère. And finally, our future tense example transforms into les comptes seront vérifiés par les inspecteurs. So, how'd you do?
Excellent work. Now let's try going in reverse, because that's just as important. Here are 2 passive sentences, and your challenge is to flip them back to the active voice. First up, la réunion a été présidée par la directrice. And second, les dossiers seront examinés par le comité. Okay, hit that pause button one last time and work your magic.
All right, let's see how you did on round 2. La réunion a été présidée par la directrice becomes the much more direct la directrice a présidé la réunion. And les dossiers seront examinés par le comité flips right back to the active le comité examinera les dossiers. Fantastic! See, you're totally getting the hang of moving between both voices.
So, this brings us to what is maybe the most important part of all of this. We know what they are, we know how to form them, but the real question is, why and when should you actually use them? This isn't just about grammar rules, it's about making a strategic choice as a communicator. Here's the simple takeaway. Choosing between active and passive isn't about being grammatically right or wrong. It's about being in control of your message. It's about deciding what you want your audience to focus on. So, master the voice and you master the message.